All right, I think we're live. For that last video, I'd say this: fuck whatever monetization. I'm just happy to get it through before.
Yeah, we can live with that.
I don't care. It's probably not going to generate anything significant. Um, all right, without further ado, let's get going. Tonight we are gonna do a rapid stream reaction for episode 7, season 4 of The Boys. I think this one is titled what? Inside Man or the Insider.
The insider, yeah.
The Insider. We're the Winter Hill Warriors. I'm Chenny Britt. I'm joined by my boy Damon. You already know how this goes. I'm going to quickly give the play by play recap of what happened in the episode, and then we'll take pauses, have breakdowns where Damon will chime in, and if I'm missing anything, he'll chime in as well. So we got House of the Dragon airing in like an hour, so let's get this fucking show kicking and going. Let's get going. So we start the episode off with basically like one of those VOT productions that they have. We see that this is a Christmas special that they're airing, or at least they're getting ready to air, and it involves Ryan. And basically, most of it is just this propaganda uh, propaganda tool, I would say, where basically the puppets that are playing various members of the Seven are just telling everyone to report potential child groomers, and then keep an eye out on your neighbors, your teachers, your mom, your dad. It's a lot of police state type of stuff, and it's kind of mimicking the stuff that goes on at the government level. And Ryan listens to this and is like, "Wait, what the fuck? This is kind of weird, man." And Ryan seems like a pretty solid kid, so while this filming is all going on, he's just kind of like, "What the hell is this?" So he cuts on the rehearsal and is kind of just like, "Yeah, what's up with these lyrics, man?" And I think he ends up calling his dad or leaving a message to Homelander, being like, "What's good with all this?" Meanwhile, back on the other floor of Vought, we have. Hold on, give me a second. I just want to make sure I pull up in case anyone's in the chat. If you're in the chat and you got things to say, just drop a message. We respond to all the messages because as of now we don't have that many viewers. But let's keep it going. And if there's audio issues and stuff like that, just let us know in the chat. But I think right now we're doing pretty well. So back on the other floor of Vought, Homelander and Sage and the rest of the Seven are kind of having a meeting. Or actually, sorry, just Homelander and Sage and or not Sage, Homelander and Firecracker, and Ashley's there as well. And Sister Sage thought the meeting started at 11, but they moved it up. Now, for anyone who's in the corporate world, the second they start not telling you about meetings, your ass is on the line. All right, that's all I'm gonna say. All right, that's all I'm gonna say. So once you stop getting invited to certain meetings, that's a bad fucking sign, man. So obviously we know last episode Sage caught a bullet in the brain, so she was kind of momentarily fucked up, and she was a moron for a little bit, and she wasn't around when Homelander really needed her to step in and speak to the rest of the rich people. So Sage is now on Homelander's shit list, and this has given Firecracker a chance to kind of get weasel her way in, I would say, and become the number one person. So Sage is getting cut out, and Ashley gets kicked out of the meeting, so Homelander can really confront Sage on what's actually going on and why he's pissed off. And it's ultimately because it turns out that the leak was not Cameron Coleman, which Homelander finds out from Firecracker last episode. So now he's pissed at Sage, and he's like, find out who the leak is. We know that Sage probably knows who the leak is. She pretty much she knows that it's A-Train, but she's got her own plan running, and this Homelander doesn't know this, so he's pretty fucking pissed off. And yep, that's pretty much how this goes. And I think he kind of just like dismisses her, if I'm not wrong. But Homelander's mad right now because this whole plan that Sage is cooking up alongside him, he's impatient. He just wants to go scorched earth against Butcher and everyone else. And Sage is like, "There's no need to kill Butcher. He's gonna die soon, anyways." And yeah, that's kind of that. So I'm gonna take a pause here before we get to the next scene. Thoughts, Damon?
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. Anytime Homelander is upset about something, you can usually trace the root back to his ego, right? It wasn't so much that Sage wasn't able to deliver last episode as much as it was when Homelander got tapped in to try and save the day. He couldn't do shit. He froze up and he looked terrible. He was definitely insecure about Newman having to steal the show and save the day. The stimulating burn was one of Sage's best lines. She's always good for a couple of one-liners. When she, yeah, I'm sure that was stimulating convo between him and Firecracker. Homelander's got to watch out because he is once again surrounding himself with yes men, which is what he was complaining about at the beginning of the season. And I can't think of a better example than Firecracker being a yes man for him.
Yeah. Firecracker has quickly vaulted to Homelander's number two, and oh, the last thing I gotta mention is they have this other plan to basically. This is, I guess, this is very relevant. I don't know if if we are living in a Matrix, Damon, I'll say this: the boys have definitely gotten the script on what's gonna happen because they're talking about assassinating the president elect Singer, and Homelander and Sage, they all have a plan, and Sage is supposed to contact a certain shooter, and obviously we can't have this stream without mentioning that yesterday, obviously, an assassination attempt was carried out on Donald Trump. So I don't know, man. The boys, maybe it's just that obvious where everything is trending, Damon. But holy fuck, do they have the exact script to what's gonna happen? Now I got to pay attention to every single episode moving forward.
Yeah, it might have more than meets the eye to it. I think what the boys does really well is they capture the climate of how everybody is so up in arms and how like there is violence afoot. Obviously in an exaggerated way because it's a show about people with superpowers, but even though they do get scolded for being a little heavy-handed with their metaphors at times, they've got the vibe down. I'll say that.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, all right, so then we cut. Oh, by the way, A Train at this point is pretty much anti-Vought, anti-Homelander, and he's kind of overhearing this entire conversation. Then we cut to the Deep, and he's hanging out with Ambrosius. Is it Ambrosius?
Yes. Yeah.
Ambrosius,
Played by Tilda Swinton.
Tilda Swinton. I don't know who that is, but who is Tilda Swinton?
Pretty good actor.
All right.
Pretty
Yeah.
good.
See, I don't know shit.
You know if you saw her. She was in a Fantastic Mr. Fox, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, okay. So this is obviously the Deep's like little secret thing going on, and it's this octopus, and she's getting ready to give him some sloppy toppy, and gets all up in his gills and stuff like that, and while this is all going on, Deep gets a text message from Sage, and Sage is like, yeah, basically fuck me later on today. If anyone's who's ever been in a situation where like you're kind of hanging out with someone that is like your second option, and then your first option sends that text, like we've all been there, man. We've all been there. We've all had to cancel or just make some excuse and dip. Not proud of it. I'm sure it's happened to me at times. That's just how life is, man. You can't be everyone's first choice. But so the Deep not only runs off, but he kind of stuffs Ambrosius back in her tank. And I guess right now the Deep has her hidden just in his closet. So it's very, very upsetting to see Ambrosius get treated like this. I never thought that I would feel for a fucking octopus. But the Deep runs off to go see Sister Sage. Then we cut to Huey and Starlight, and they're living together. They're dating seriously, and Starlight is finally talking to her mom, and I think she's moved her mom to Sedona. Is Sedona in Arizona?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Sedona's Arizona. Also have to apologize. Tilda Swinton was not in Fantastic Fox, but she's been in like every other Wes Anderson movie, so I'll take the L on that one.
Wait, did she play? Is she? I gotta look up Tilda Swinton real quick. Is she in Doctor Strange? Oh my God, she's in Doctor Strange.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
all right.
she's the yes. That's who. That's a better reference. Yeah.
Apologies, Tilda Swinton. So, anyways, obviously we know Starlight's mom is like very religious, conservative, stuff like that. So when she finds out the news of the abortion, she ignores her daughter for a long time. But it seems like they're a little bit on better terms now, and Starlight is hiding her mom in Arizona because things might get very dicey. After the conversation, we kind of just get a moment between Starlight and Huey where Starlight finds out that Huey has this, or Starlight's mom lets it slip that Huey has stashed Starlight's costume and he's kept it, just for safekeeping in case that, in case she wants it, someday. And obviously this costume carries a lot of mixed emotions for Starlight, and she's mad at Huey, and Huey immediately is like, all right, yeah, we could throw it out, blah, blah, blah. Happy soon to be wife, happy life, I guess. And Starlight is, talks about the abortion. She's like, look, the only reason I got the abortion was because, I didn't want to bring a child into this fucked up world. So that's fair. That's totally fair. And Huey gets it. So, they kind of have this nice little moment there. I'm going to pause now before we start getting into the rest of the episode, because basically from this point on, it's pure action.
Yeah, I think we'll go on the deep for just a second here. I hate going on the deep for any more than a little bit because he's just been a really odd guy for a little. I know he was always odd, but this season it feels almost there's some Patrick Bateman to his actions, like a dumb man's Patrick Bateman, if you will.
I can see that.
He's just so odd. But for a guy this dumb, there's a lot going on psychologically. The Shia LaBeouf connection that they keep making between him and the Deep is kind of hilarious. Really, he's just latched on to whatever Homelander is pushing. He doesn't know who he is. This is the dude who got wrapped up in the Scientology cult. It's the guy who has very limited human connection aside from, the couple of ex-wives in his past. Moving on to the Starlight angle. Yeah, Starlight's mom's always sucked. She's always been pretty bad. Huey, kind of a weird move by Huey to keep his suit, don't you think?
Yeah, definitely kind of weird. And yeah, it seems like he still kind of fetishizes her, the superhero aspect of her.
Yes. Like, you remember how it all went down in season one. He was just starstruck the whole time he was trying to get to know her. Like, it was almost an accident that they ended up becoming a thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and that suit, I hope they're cleaning that suit. But
There's going to be a dry cleaning fee.
exactly. All right, let's keep it moving. So now this is when it just gets to pure action. So A Train is scoping out Sage, talking to this guy who is supposed to be the shooter, and he's taking video of it. He's gonna end up using that evidence and sending it to the rest of the boys. They get the evidence, and MM is kind of having a briefing with the rest of the squad. You got Kimiko, you got Starlight, you got Huey, and then out of nowhere, motherfucking Butcher is back, and they're all kind of shocked. They're like, "What the fuck? Why is he here? Why is he here?" And Butcher's been gone for a while, so none of them really have know what Butcher's been up to this entire time, which is he cut off a man's leg and he's been holding him hostage and forcing him to create the virus. So
He did do that.
yeah, Butcher has held Samir hostage, and he's been talking to himself. He's been talking to what he thought was Kessler, but Kessler's dead, so he's just been talking to himself. And Butcher comes here and he basically comes clean, and he's like, "Yeah, I've had Samir Shah as hostage," and as he's coming clean to the rest of the squad, you got Kessler, who kind of serves as the devil on his shoulder, basically being like, "Don't do this. Let's just do our own thing. Let's just kill all the soups." And Butcher ignores Kessler, and he tells him that, yeah, he's had Samir making the virus for him. The problem is that the virus, if it's going to be strong enough to kill Homelander, then it would be really contagious, and it would kill all the rest of the soups. And then there's also this moment where Huey's like, "Wait, you cut off his fucking leg? That's insane." So they kind of quickly move past that, and Butcher's like, "Listen, I need your help, and we have to kind of like remake this virus, but make it in a way where it's powerful enough to kill Homelander, but not be super contagious." And the person that they need to find is ultimately Frenchie, right? So Butcher has, because we know from previous seasons, sometimes like it's easy to forget that like Frenchie is a mastermind when it comes to chemicals and shit.
Yeah,
so
he's like a Heisenberg type cook.
yeah. And so Butcher has gotten a favor from Mallory, and they've released Frenchie. So I guess Frenchie is fine now after committing, countless heinous murders. He's just out on the streets. So obviously,
Kind of weird, right? Though,
yeah,
like for his character arc and the whole redemption and justice thing.
yeah, and I would say like this is the one thing that the boys sometimes pisses me off about is that so much shit just happens off screen. Like so much shit just happens off screen. Um, but whatever. And I'm not a fucking film critic. So Frenchie's not happy. Kimiko's pissed at him, and whatever. It doesn't matter. Frenchie is here because Butcher basically says, let's just have Frenchie work with Samir and create a better version of the virus. So it sounds like a solid plan, honestly, and the team is somewhat back together for the time being. Then we actually see Ryan. It's Christmas time, so he goes to his beautiful living room and he sees a bunch of presents, and he sees this one present from what is it? Don't be a cunt, and that
Yeah.
yeah, don't be a cunt, and he knows that that's Butcher, and the picture, the present is actually just a picture of young Butcher with Rebecca, who's Ryan's mom, and their dog. So that tugs on some emotional heartstrings for Ryan. Back at the boys HQ. Also, side note, Damon, this office is beautiful. I was like, I actually paused during this episode and I was like, man, it's high up. Like, it's this old fashioned, almost like office building, factory office building type thing with super high ceilings. Like, gorgeous place.
Yeah, if I could work in a room like that, I might not be depressed with a 9 to 5, you know?
Yeah, and they got this little weight room. Like, this is a nice little startup. But over here, MM tells Butcher like, hey, he's got to talk to Monique real quick, and then he also tells, I think, yeah, he also tells the rest of the group, hey, I'm no longer the leader. Butcher's gonna be the leader again, and MM is very self aware. He just says, look, I fucking had a panic attack on a mission. It's just I put us in such danger, and I could have jeopardized the entire thing if it wasn't for A Train saving me. Like, I'm not cut out to be the leader. Butcher is. I'm just better doing research. And look, they can't really argue with that. Like, even if they like MM more, your leader's not always supposed to be likable. So meanwhile, Kessler, the devil on Butcher's shoulder, he's smiling because it's like, hey, if Butcher's now back in charge, then they have a lot more power. MM goes to Monique and he's basically like, hey, you got to take what's their daughter's name again? Do you remember? Janine,
Oh,
Janine, Janine.
Janine. Yes.
Um,
Yes.
he's like, yeah, take Janine. You guys got to go to fucking like the Caribbean, where it is, Trinidad.
I think they're trying to go to Belize.
Oh, Belize, Belize. Um, and MM's like, here's 10K. I don't understand this. I understand like sending them away, but Homelander can fly, so I don't like.
Yeah.
There's really no hiding. And then Monique's like, fuck it, like you come with us, and we actually see really consider it. And then I'll do one more quick scene before we take a break. We see A Train and Ashley, and they kind of have this like really really I guess raw moment where Ashley ended up firing like her assistant or something, and it turns out that Ashley didn't fire her assistant because he was bad or she was trying to be mean. She's actually trying to save him because Vought is just not a safe place, and A Train's telling Ashley, look, like Homelander knows that Cameron Coleman's not the leak, so it's only a matter of time before they're onto us. And Ashley is just terrified, and she's like, let's just get out of here. Like you and me, let's just fucking leave. Let's run away. And A Train's like, just shut the fuck up. Like he gives this speech to Ashley where he's like, button your shit up right now, figure it out right now. Like, we got to go win this thing. So I fucking love A Trade this season. This is where I'm gonna take a break. Thoughts on everything so far?
Yeah, man. A Train's he's a hero now, man. He's paid his debts, in my opinion. We didn't even really get to know Huey's girlfriend. I'm sure she was a nice girl at the start of season 1. His bad. He admitted it. But he's made up for it, man. I'm telling you what. Going back to the Butcher thing, Butcher's got some ideas. I'm impressed that Butcher came clean on this. This makes me no longer afraid of Butcher lying to the team, and that's where it falls apart. It's more like, can Butcher control Kessler, or is Kessler going to usurp total control. Because if Kessler's power is contained within whatever is metastasizing throughout Butcher's body, as this sickness grows, does Kessler get stronger as Butcher gets weaker? That's what I was thinking in that regard.
Oh, like you're saying Kessler is symbolic for the tumor in Butcher's head almost.
Yes, like if that is the way it goes, this that could be a troubling factor here.
Yeah.
Ryan, dude, this is like House of Dragon. Not to spoil anything for anybody, so I'll leave names out of this. But when the green side gets a certain dragon over to their side, that could be the type of shift you get if we can convince Ryan to be a good person forever and to join over with the boys. You know what I mean? That could
Yeah.
be a huge swing.
That's a great analogy. Anything else before I keep it moving?
Butcher is, man, we pretty much already named it, but Butcher is high risk, high reward. You need him at the helm if you want any chance of getting things done. Otherwise, it's looking pretty iffy. MM, I know he's cracking, but will he actually go through with this? I have my doubts. Worried that Ashley might crack though. I mean, she had a great episode. This is probably a top 3 Ashley episode, but she is a little worrying at times on if she's going to be able to hold it down under like some intense Homelander torture. I'm not sure. Humans usually don't fare too well with him unless you're Stan Edgar, but Edgar's kind of a sociopath himself, you know?
Yeah, and we don't even know where Edgar is right now. Um, all right, let's keep it moving. Yeah, Ashley. See, like if this was the mob, they probably kill Ashley at this point because she's just a threat to Yap.
Yes. Yeah.
All right, so now they track down the shooter to in a dress, and they pull up, and I think it's the squad is Butcher, Huey, and Starlight, and then I think Kimiko and Frenchie are supposed to work with Samir and get him to make the virus. So as they're kind of pulling up, A Train pulls up and is kind of scoping everything out. So that's been happening. Butcher has another kind of moment with Kessler where Kessler's just basically like, dude, just go scorched earth, please. And Butcher's trying to fight off that influence, and Kessler basically calls Butcher a fucking quitter. Just try to basically say you're not a man. They break into the apartment and it's a mess, and they're seeing really good propaganda, or not propaganda, but there's plenty of evidence suggesting that this is indeed the shooter's residence. They see Secret Service files, detail assignments for January 6th, which is when the inauguration is, a detailed map of where, Singer is going to be posted up. So very clearly, this is where the shooter is. They hear this thud, they go in, and they see this woman who looks to be, a hostage, a victim, someone who's gotten pretty mangled. There's blood all over her, and she's saying that this man killed her husband, has held her here, and out of nowhere, I think she grabs Starlight or something, or she cuts Starlight and then sprints off, and then they chase her. And it turns out, if you know this soup's name, Damon, drop it when we get to you. But basically, this soup's power is like shapeshifting, and the way they do it is they have to like make contact with you, and then they basically peel off their own body, and then they molt and then shed and then turn into the person that they want to be. So they go on this chase, but the soup, we don't even know the gender of the soup. At least I don't. The soup runs off, and there's no way to identify the soup because they could be anyone. So they run out, and the soup is gone. And you see Butcher's like fucking soup shapeshifters. So that's not good. And Huey's also been stabbed up pretty badly. So Starlight's like, hey, we gotta get you stitched up. And Huey's like, don't worry, I'll go alone. You just, you help out Butcher. So that happens, and then there's this scene where A Train actually pulls up at MM's house and confronts him. So we saw earlier that A Train had pulled up to go, basically spy on the boys. And when he didn't see MM there, A Train's smart. He knew right away MM is probably going to make a run for it. So he basically pulls up on MM and is just like, dude, you're really going to puss out and make a run for it? And MM is just like, I just want to be happy with my family, and A Train's like, dude, your family is not going to be able to hide anywhere like, what do you think this is? Like, you're better off just fighting. Like, don't be a bitch. That's basically what A Train tells MM, and it definitely sinks into MM's head because MM, like you said, Damon, he's a man of action. It's just gonna be very difficult to imagine him not being involved. And I'm gonna take a quick break there. What's going on?
All right. So with the whole shape shifting thing that you mentioned, they haven't actually named who the character is. In the boys comic, there was this shape shifting soup called Malchemical, but it's not really fitting the profile of like the power set here. So the real question is like, do they shapeshift by coming into contact with someone else's DNA? I thought they were going to set this up with cameras outside from Sage's behalf, and they were going to make it look like Starlight was kidnapping young girls or something when she was running down the stairs.
Oh yeah, I like
But
that.
but the turn that it took definitely, it makes sense that Sage would be doing some kind of business with somebody who could be so deceitful in this way. A Train just being a good dude, man. Nice full circle moment because, as we know, MM was the one who had to encourage A Train to flip. So for A Train to be the one applying a very nice, simple dose of logic, because the whole run away from the bad guys while they attempt to world dominate never works. You got to suck it up. You got to stick around. The stakes are way too high. I'm trying to think of like another movie or show I've seen that in, but you've seen it before where it's like, oh, we could just go away together. But it's like, no, no, man, that can't happen. I mean, for example, like Rhaenyra and Kristen Cole in the beginning of House of Dragon, right? Like no one's just going to turn away from their destiny in like the final battle just so they can like go chill for a minute, you know?
Yeah, it's like it. Dude, this is so fucking nerdy, but Harry Potter.
Yes,
there's
good
no
pull.
there's no running. Like even the Weasleys, they just get involved. Like there's no running, man. Especially with fucking wizards that can apparate. Now we're just going too far. All right, yeah, let's keep it moving. Let's check on fucking Kimiko, Samir, and Frenchie. Uh, Obviously, we're gonna have this whole like, oh, you were not a good friend to me angle from Frenchie and fucking Kimiko, and I guess they're lying to Samir. Samir's asking, are they gonna use the virus on Newman? And Frenchie's like, nah, we're not gonna use the virus on Newman. But obviously, they're gonna use the virus on Newman, and Samir doesn't believe them. But as of now, Samir's got one leg. He's pretty banged up, and they're holding him hostage, making him make a better version of the virus, along with fucking Frenchie's help. And so that's going down. They're at this like little shady factory shop thing. Then we see the scene. This scene's really really important. It's minor, but it's very very important. Where Homelander gets the voicemail, like it's a missed call from his son Ryan, and then Ryan I guess leaves a voicemail, and it's probably like, hey, they're making me say weird shit on the show. Can we not do it? And then Homelander just dismisses his kid and is just like, yeah, I'm having a really bad day, so just do exactly what they ask, just for me. So that's how he handles it with his son. And meanwhile, they're ready to interrogate someone, and the person that they're ready to interrogate, and actually Firecracker is the one who ended up snagging this person. It's fucking Webweaver. So Webweaver is not built for this. So he's just the entire time he's pissing his pants, and that is visualized by him just squirting out like fluid, like basically spider fluid, web fluid from his web hole.
It's nasty.
It's so fucking nasty, but they're basically like, are you the leak? And Webweaver's not the leak. Like, yes, he has a relationship with Butcher, and he confesses to that, saying that he's always passed information to Butcher in exchange for drugs, I believe. But Webweaver's not the leak from. He's not really the main leak from Vought, right? Like, we know who that is. So Webweaver's just freaking out the entire time, and they get the information that they need. They just wanted to know how the boys found out about the location of the whole Tech Night event and all of that. So Webweaver cracks pretty quickly, and then Homelander goes and rips him physically in half. And at this point, Firecracker's looking. I feel like this was the face where she's like, all right, like I've gotten myself in way too deep, right? Like there wasn't.
There's a cost for what I've done here.
Yeah, exactly. So Webweaver is fucked up, and then let's get back to Kimiko and Frenchie. their relationship's still kind of icy, and Kimiko's just like, what the fuck is your problem? You wouldn't see me when I went to go visit you. And Frenchie's like, I didn't want to see anyone. I'm ashamed. Blah blah blah. And then Kimiko's just like, dude, relax. You could have talked to me. Frenchie's like, you wouldn't understand. And then Kimiko reveals her backstory. So she's been holding back certain things from Frenchie as well. The reason why Kimiko can't speak has nothing to do with the terrorist cell killing her parents, which is the story that she's told everyone. Or at least she even told her younger brother, Kenji. But that's not the truth. The truth is, when Kimiko was kidnapped as a really young girl, the terrorist cell would make all of their child slaves fight to the death, and only the strongest would be allowed to remain. So Kimiko fucking as they're engaging in this like child 1v1, whoever makes a noise first or whoever cries out first loses and then basically gets shot in the head. So you had to basically train yourself to stay quiet even if you were hurt, because you would die. And so Kimiko was like an amazing fighter and just fucked up all of the girls, like killed them without making a sound. And then after her first battle, her first like child kill, she basically her brain just shut down in a way where she was no longer able to speak anymore. So that's the real trauma. I'm guessing she didn't tell her therapist or her speech therapist that. And Frenchie's like, you didn't have a choice. And Kimiko's, yes, I did. I could have died instead of that girl. I think she's being a bit harsh on herself, but it is what it is. Also, is this the girl from earlier in the season, the one who she slices in the face?
I think she kills the one that she fights in this scene.
Okay, yeah, that's what I thought too.
But I think I think she sliced the other girl the same way.
Okay. All right. So now Kimiko's like, I hate myself as well. I'm a murderer. So I guess her and Frenchie get along together, and now they're friends again. But while they're having this fucking kumbaya moment, these dumbasses let Samir kind of, he's kind of just, he's doing his own thing. He's doing some plotting. He's staring over. Clearly, he's got some sort of strategy to escape. So I'm gonna pause right here.
Yeah, you're always going to get a little payback when you've been nice for too long, man. They were talking about letting Samir go and all this stuff. It's like, guys, keep your eye on the ball here, man. I'm sure knowing who Newman is not just, she's pretty cunning herself. So obviously the father of her child's probably going to have a dark side as well. With that, her story's pretty sad, Kimiko, and it only gets sadder as we get more details. The background was a nice tie-in. It tying into like all the murderous trauma she's been through. I think with all the critiques that could be made of some of the writing choices this season, they did a nice job wrapping that one up. This is one of the problems when you get a ton of side characters involved in what you're doing in your show. Like the boys officially, now that we keep on adding more soups back into the 7, we have a disgusting amount of side characters in this show, when really the core plot is Butcher v. Homelander, and then some, that's the key, like, how is the world going to end conflict going down here. But now that we have Newman in as this third side, we brought Stan Edgar back. It's just really hard to wrap everybody up and keep everybody on the level. So I think that's kind of what we're seeing here in a way. The Web Weaver scene, only thing I want to say about that is another moment where I did laugh out loud when Web Weaver is talking about Butcher. He's like, yeah, his accent, man, like he like messes with your brain and stuff. Like he sounds like Shaggy from Scooby-Doo practically. And Homelander just returns with feeble brains, maybe. That got me.
Yeah, that was pretty funny. Butcher's accent is fucking amazing. Hold on, give me a second. I just have to confirm. I'm still on live, right?
Yeah, I got you.
I just have to confirm. YouTube is making me confirm that it's really me. So if you're on stream, just give me a second. It's fucking me. It's
fake Chen.
It's not fake Chen. It's real Chen. All right, we're back. All right, cool. Thought that was gonna blow up the stream real quick. I was gonna lose my fucking mind. Yeah, the Web Weaver scene, that was just nasty. Very, very discomforting. All right, so this next scene is pretty discomforting as well. So this scene, the Deep commits murder, spousal murder. Maybe not spousal murder, but he comes back to his crib, and Ambrosius is basically like, yeah, I know you've been cheating on me with Sister Sage. I can smell it on you or something. And the Deep is just like, well, she's got 4 limbs, which is really fucked up, man. And Ambrosius is just like, I'm better for you. Like, she doesn't even care that the Deep is cheating on her. She just wants the Deep in her life. And she's like, Kevin, she's using you. She's using you. And the Deep just loses his fucking mind, breaks her tank. All of the water flies out, and then she's suffocating essentially. And the Deep just keeps the door shut and lets her suffocate to death. How I don't know how. I'm not gonna try to like question this. It's obviously the boys, but she didn't have any water earlier in the episode, and she seemed pretty fine. She seemed like she was about to. Maybe she was getting moisture from the Deep, but sorry. Yeah. So now the Deep has now killed Ambrosius, and there's no turning back for this guy. So he goes up to Homelander, and he's just like, I'll kill whoever you want me to kill. Like, I'm your best soldier. And really, what Homelander is telling him to do, I think this is when he sends the Deep to go kill Butcher and those guys. So yeah, the Deep has now been fully radicalized. And then we cut back to Huey. Huey at this point had said he was going to go to the hospital to get his hand stitched up, but he actually takes a detour unbeknownst to anyone on the boys, and he goes and drops some snacks off at Sarah Newman's. They did have a genuine friendship before it was found out that she was the head exploder, and basically Huey's like, look, please don't work with Homelander. Like it's not gonna end well. Just like, you're better than this. Like, that's not who you are. And Newman knows that they have all this dirt on her. They have the recording from Tech Nights. They had it bugged, but it's kind of a no-win situation for both of them. Mutually assured destruction, as they say, where if they drop the evidence, Newman's going to kill everyone that they know. So, neither side can really do anything. And Newman tells Huey, like, it's too late, basically. Like, I'm not switching sides. So very, very tough moment there. Then we get into this huge fight scene. I'm actually going to pause it before this fight scene.
All right, just real quick. We've talked about the Deep good enough here. We can just skip to the Newman analysis in this one. I do question what Edgar's influence is going to factor in here. I don't really see a way in which she blindly carries out Homelander's plan without a catch, with Edgar also being around, because he's the Homelander kryptonite who can cut through any of his plans and figure out a counter. So I would watch out for that. There's also a funny little Mitt Romney line where she was talking about having to court both sides of the political spectrum. And Huey's like, well, man, this is Homelander. This isn't Mitt Romney, which that was pretty interesting too. Homelander, although Homelander does give some Mormon vibes occasionally, though.
Yep. That's that. Yeah, I mean, I guess sucking on the sucking for mother's milk. I'm just gonna stop there.
Well, technically, it's not premarital.
It's not. Yeah. All right, let's get into this fight scene. I'm gonna get in trouble one of these days. All right. So, Butcher, Starlight return back to HQ, and fucking the Deep is there, and so is Black Noir, and it's time to battle. And Starlight at this point, like, she doesn't fully have her powers back yet, so like this is gonna be a tough match, and the Deep is ready to kill them. And then he also has this really fucking funny line where he's like, "What, dude? I can barely understand you." When Butcher fucking
dude, he reminded me of one of our good friends at that moment. You know who I'm talking about?
Ratner. Yeah. So this brawl goes down, and it's not looking good for either of them, and they're kind of getting their asses kicked at first. But Butcher has a shotgun taped underneath the desk, and he ends up blasting Black Noir. Noir's fine, obviously. Also, the Black Noir replacement, he suffers from narcolepsy, so in the middle of this battle, he just fucking passes out, I think. Yeah, just passes out, and the Butcher's like, the fucker suffers from narcolepsy. And
But he can fly though, so that's an interesting trade off.
oh yeah, I totally forgot to fucking mention that. Oh my god, I'm trying to find the scene right now, but he,
Do you know how OP the original Black Noir would be if he could fly?
yeah, because the original Black Noir is just like this super athlete essentially. I'm trying to find the scene where he can fly. Whatever, he can fly. So this new Black Noir is actually pretty fucking sick, and the Deep's kind of he's fighting with he's kind of beating the fuck out of Starlight, I guess. And then A Train comes in, saves the day, beats the fuck out of the Deep pretty easily, I think. And he tells the Deep like, I always fucking hated you. Oh, this is where we see that Black Noir can fly, and Homelander's just like, he can fucking fly. And then MM comes out of nowhere, grabs the minigun, and blasts Black Noir, I think, out of the out of the fucking apartment. So Black Noir plummets, I don't know, 20, 30 stories. He'll be fine. He's not going to die. But, MM has bought the boys time. And I think, let me see what happens here. Yeah, I think they knock, or yeah, Starlight's the one who basically grabs onto the Deep's gills and then knocks him unconscious, basically. So they don't kill the Deep, but they're all, MM is back, and they're all like, all right, let's get out of here before Black Noir flies back up. So MM is back. The speech from A Train worked. He's not going to run off, and they dip. What'd you think about that fight?
If this was a video game, this is the scene where the boss sends the henchman to battle you to earn your final showdown. A Train is the man. The always hated you line towards the Deep was awesome. And it makes sense because A Train hated himself. And the two are pretty similar all the way back to when they both got into that weird Scientology knockoff. So it was cool to see that character departure from them. Like A Train is on the up and up where the Deep has just sunk. There's a weird similarity between the Deep and Homelander where both of them don't really have a strong sense of human love in their formative years. They're both pretty depraved in a sexual sense, like in a wild manner. These guys are some weirdos. As a result, they become inherently selfish, detached from anything outside of impulse and like just violence in general. Now that the Deep is on Homelander's level, obviously Homelander is much more of a threat, and the Deep is kind of a joke. But this was by far the most menacing I've seen Deep in a long time. It was cool to see Starlight get that revenge on the Deep too, considering what he pulled on her earlier in the show. And now she has some connection to her powers. So maybe we have a comeback from Starlight waiting in the wings here.
Yeah, also one thing I forgot to mention is that we as viewers know that this is a replacement Black Noir, but they don't. So when Black Noir actually talks, there's this moment where Starlight's like, wait, you can fucking talk? So that's pretty funny. Also, now at this point, Black Noir and the Deep know that A Train is actually the leak. So A Train basically can't go back to Vought anymore. So that brings us to the next scene where he quickly goes back to Vought to tell Ashley, all right, we got to get out of here because I just got found out. And once Homelander finds out, it's over. And it's the sad moment where Ashley can't leave. She's given up, basically her entire life to be CEO of Vought. That's all she knows. And this is kind of the Titanic going down with the ship moment where she'd rather die being a part of Vought than, be without it. So really sad scene. Meanwhile, the boys, they're on the run. HQ is no longer safe. Starlight, and Butcher are just kind of at a bar, just drinking. And this fucking woman with, silver hair comes up and asks Starlight for a selfie. So we're going to have to remember that because it's a very, very interesting and pivotal exchange. So Starlight, I think, asks Butcher who's Kessler, and Butcher doesn't come clean because he doesn't want the team to know that he's fucking talking to one of his former dead comrades. Like, he's that
It's a bad look.
Such a bad look. And then Monique calls MM, and MM's like, are you out of your mind? Like, I can't actually leave with you. The only way that I can keep you guys safe is to fight this out. And he hangs up on her. Shout out to MM for choosing, the right path and being a G about it and doing what it has to do. Sacrifice is paramount. Homelander is having this just moment where he's really distraught about A Train being the leak. It's kind of crazy, like, because it's like he really, really, he didn't love A Train. Obviously, he doesn't love A Train, but it crushes him and crushes his ego that A Train
Yes.
would do that to him, and it's really surprising to see him this distraught. And Firecracker's trying to console Homelander, but it's not working. Sage obviously finds out, so she steps in and she's like, "Who the fuck sent um, the Deep and Black Noir to go kill them? Like that's so dumb." And it's basically Firecracker was the one who was kind of behind that plan, which makes sense because the plan was stupid. And then Sage is also like, "You guys killed Webweaver," and they're like, "Yeah." And Sage is like, "He obviously wasn't the leak. He's a junkie. You can't listen to anything that he says." And I knew A Train was the leak the entire time. That was part of the entire fucking plan that I had. So Sage had this all mapped out. We were wondering why at the beginning of the season, why Sage didn't expose A Train, but this is when she comes clean and says, look, she was using A Train to basically be a leak for the information that she wanted to get leaked out. And now that they've blown up all of this, it's over, and A Train is no longer going to be, close enough to them. And yeah, do you have anything to say, Damon? I'm taking a pause here.
If if you tell Homelander A Train is the leak, he's not going to have the patience to not laser his face off. You're going to lose it. Even if you tell Homelander the plan is to feed Butcher info, he's not going to be able to control himself. I mean, you pointed out how he reacted just to this. Homelander, the last like 3 times he's talked to A Train, he's tried to embarrass him. Like there's the whole incident where he was like, "Deep, get on your knees." There was last season when he was poking A Train's stomach and like knocked the milkshake out of his hand. So he doesn't actually care about A Train. He cares about A Train not caring about him. That's all it is. So this is just like the fundamental flaw in Homelander being your head honcho of your evil organization right now is that he's so indirectly sensitive to everything going on, and he doesn't think through. He's so impulsive right now that you could not pick like a worse chief decision maker without Sage there to check what he's doing.
Yeah, good recall on him making fun of A Train for being fat. That's like kind of what my mom does to me when I come back. She's like, what's your body fat percentage? Anyways, enough about that. But there was also that I forget if it was like season 1 or season 2 when Homelander. Remember it was like Shockwave or someone who was arguably
Yes.
faster than A Train, and then Homelander was pretty fucking ruthless in the fact that he's like, if you're not the faster one, then I'm rocking with whoever wins the race
Yeah.
essentially. Um, so Homelander's reaction to Sage basically telling him like, "You're dumb. You fucked up the entire plan that I had. This is ultimately gonna hurt you." His reaction to that is, "You're fired." And I actually was surprised that he didn't kill Sister Sage. Probably because he knows deep down that he may need her at some point again. So he just tells her, "Get the fuck out of here. You're lucky I'm not like basically killing you right now." And Sage has fucking balls, man. Before she leaves, she basically shits on Homelander one more time, and it's just like, yeah, surround yourself with yes men. Like you deserve everything that's gonna happen. And she storms out, and then Firecracker tries to make Homelander feel better. He's just like, get the fuck away from me. And then Noir and the Deep have this bonding moment where they're just like, bro, 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 because they got into their first brawl together, and Sage says, "Yeah, I got fired." And as she walks off, we find out that she's actually been fucking both of them. She's been fucking the Deep, and she's been fucking Black Noir, and Noir is in love with her. So Sage is
What do
just
you mean lobotomizing her?
yeah, exactly. And then they're kind of looking at each other like, "God damn, man." So Sage has played both of them. Then we cut to the little warehouse lab factory where Samir at this point has been quietly like chipping away at the handcuffs that he has on, and he's basically broken them, and he's weakened them enough to the point where he could just break them. So he's buying time, and as Kimiko comes close to him, he takes the virus that he made and stabs Kimiko, and then breaks off the handcuffs that he had on, and kind of just hobbles away. Now he's not very fast, but at this point, Frenchie is distracted because he's got to save Kimiko's life. So the same virus that we saw in Gen V is quickly spreading throughout Kimiko's body, and it's going to take her life. Fortunately, Kimiko's superpowers involve her being able to regenerate her limbs. So Frenchie has to fucking like try to stop the blood flow or slow down the blood flow. So he ties a really tight knot around her upper thigh to try to slow down the blood flow, and then he saws off her leg and saves her life. And then the rest of the boys show up to the lab, and at this point now they have Kimiko's leg in a freezer because there's still some trace amounts of the virus there. If Samir was able to get the virus out of the sheep's head, then they can maybe use Kimiko's leg to redo the or remake the virus. So it's not over for them yet. Then what's it called? We then see Ryan. Ryan gets the voicemail in exchange from Homelander, where he hears his dad tell him like, "Hey, you just gotta suck it up and do it." So obviously this pushes Ryan over the edge, and he basically blows up the. I don't know if it's a live show, but it's basically the recording, and Ryan's just like, all of this is stupid, like none of this makes any sense. You shouldn't spy on your neighbors. And it's live, right, Damon? So it's live. So everyone's seeing this shit at Butcher's seeing this shit at the bar that he's at. I'm gonna pause it here.
Yeah, so this is an entire live feed. So his reaction from Matt when he pretty much just goes back against what Homelander is saying and is like, this is BS, this is stupid. You should love your family, you should trust the people around you. This is reminiscent of when Homelander basically tells them to keep rolling the teleprompter in season 3 for his birthday special, the one that Metro Boomin samples for Heroes and Villains that got all the incels hyped during the episode. Ryan is polite and measured the whole time he does the interruption, though. Rather than speaking from his ego, he speaks from a place of love because, he had an actual set of parents that loved him and showed affection, whereas Homelander just had a lab with like creepy middle-aged dudes who are trying to manipulate him into being controllable. So that was pretty jarring from Ryan's perspective. That's a good sign for him. On the flip side, with the Sage being fired piece, there's a reason she's not dead, right? Is she going to go team up with Newman? Is she going to go behind Homelander's back here? Is she going to try to seek redemption? I don't think so. I don't think she's about redemption. I think she is about winning, though. So defeating Homelander, I think, would be just as good of a prize as anything. But now everything is off the rails there. For the boys, the virus, that tie is going to tie into Butcher. Butcher somehow is going to have to make a decision. They are going to be able to get the virus ready to go, but it's the matter of like what happens to it after they get it produced. That's going to be pretty pivotal. I do not think could it be ready for the finale? Chronologically, it's supposed to be what? January 20th is inauguration? Or January 6th, right?
Yeah, Jan 6th.
So that's like they got like a week and a half to do the virus. That might be like a next season order of business.
Yeah, because there's one more episode left in this season.
Yeah, finale next week.
Yeah, and then one thing I forgot to add on the Ryan front is while Butcher's watching this from the bar and he's pumped about it because he knows that he's getting through to Ryan. It's a PR disaster for Vought. Ashley's devastated, all of these things, and Homelander watches this and he's just like, "Wow, I don't even have my son anymore." And Ryan actually shouts out Butcher and his mom, and he's like, "Yeah. My mom loved me, and she died from. Yeah, she's dead, but she loved me, and she also loved her husband Billy, but she wouldn't love what we're doing now." So Homelander is losing his battle for control of Ryan. Butcher is winning, and Butcher tells his imaginary demon Kessler, "I got faith in the kid, so fuck off." So as Butcher walks off triumphantly, the tumor at this point spreads enough where he fucking faints, passes out, and is just immobilized on the ground. Then we finish off the episode with a wild fucking scene, bro.
Huey cannot catch a break, bro.
Huey cannot catch a break. So Huey is comes clean to what he believes is Starlight, basically being like, "Yeah, Annie, like I actually went to go see Newman and try to talk her out of it." And what we think is Starlight comes out wearing the costume and then just, rides Huey until they both come. So Huey's getting some sex, and then he passes out like a baby. This transition's so funny. You bust a nut, and then it's just straight to snoring. And I knew right when I saw this, when Starlight like smiling, looking at him, I was like, all right, yeah, this is gonna be weird. So Huey's passed out, open mouth. Yeah, classic. Starlight gets up. Oh God, I just showed more cheeks. God damn it! I went this entire fucking thing without inadvertently showing ass cheeks. Um, but at this point, Starlight opens the safe. I think pulls out the laptop with a lot of intel. That might have the recording of Newman as well, right? The voice recording or something or whatever. It just has we don't know specifically what's on there, but it
But it's
turns
not good for them to have it.
no, yeah, exactly. And then we see the eyes light up, and it turns out this is the soup from earlier in the episode that shapeshifted. She actually has, I don't know, like, once again, I don't know if the soup's gender, but the soup has Starlight held and chained up in that same apartment. And we see what ended up happening was that that lady who asked for a selfie with Starlight and touched Starlight was actually the soup. And then once the soup had Starlight's DNA or whatever and could transform into Starlight, the next plan or the next step was to basically chloroform Starlight or whatever, use like whatever this chemical is. It's probably chloroform. Knock Starlight out on her way to the bathroom, and then have her held as hostage. So Huey just slept with that actual shape shifting soup. Starlight is now chained up and in danger.
Again, I know you already mentioned like we're not critics. We're just two guys talking about shows we like to watch. I still would have liked to see that like chronological, like maybe that happens right before Butcher passes out or something close by to that, so we don't have to go get a flashback back of like the evil Starlight and the halothane mask and everything. I know there's some dramatic reveal with like, oh, that's not Starlight that Huey's with, but you can get a sense that that's not Starlight when she's gladly putting on the Starlight outfit and is
Mm,
like, oh yeah, like you were right, like that Starlight doesn't talk like that.
right. Yeah, exactly. She's like fetishizing herself, having sex with him in the outfit. Um, any other thoughts, Damon?
This one for me, I mean, probably one of my favorite episodes of the season because they advanced so many things in the plot. We're at a tipping point now. I think we're going to have an awesome finale next week. I would like to see a I know we got that little battle scene, but I want more action. Homelander has barely lifted a finger this season aside from just killing people in 1v1s that are no match to him. So give us a little something here. How Starlight gets out, I'm not really sure. The creaking noise that she hears, not sure. There is an interesting wrinkle in the fact that they have a shapeshifter as the possible gunman or assassin, because theoretically, that assassin could take the shape of Starlight now that Starlight's trapped, right?
Mm,
So
yeah.
that's they could make it anybody that the shapeshifters come in contact with. Then you can pin a presidential assassination on somebody, which is a big no-no as we've learned over the past couple days.
Yeah, don't assassinate candidates for the presidency. Uh, all right, yeah, that's this is crazy. It's just so crazy that the events of yesterday fucking happened.
Yeah.
Like we could have streamed this shit Thursday night, but yeah, we did not know that that was gonna happen. But once again, maybe the boys has the script on everything that's gonna happen, and if that's the case, I need to know what the Powerball numbers are. I need to
Yeah, give us
know.
some stock picks.
Yeah, give me some stock picks. Like, let me make some money before all of this shit goes to shit. But that does it for our stream. We kept it under an hour. One more
Wow.
episode left. We will be streaming that season finale, and then after that, we'll be finishing up House of the Dragon. And then Damon, we're gonna be doing some stuff for Dune in the fall, and then we're working on some boys content. Um, we're cooking some stuff up, but thanks for bearing with us. I was on a work trip last week, so like I was just late on everything.
No, we're definitely we're gonna right back where we should be. Definitely appreciate all you guys tuning in, even if it's only two of you. It's still two more than we would have expected a little while ago. So
Oh god, yep.
appreciate that and stay tuned.
All right, catch y'all later.